are the I Am presence in harmony with the divine. You are consciousness beyond what the body and mind identify. This is Moment to Moment. Host Linda Hope will remind and enlighten you to know your divine nature. You were born into the body already aware, but forgot it as you expanded your sense of identity, ego mind, pattern behaviors, and habits. Stop sleepwalking and wake up to your timeless, eternal, formless self. Now, your host of Moment to Moment, Linda Hope.
Namaste. Welcome. Good evening to Moment. My name is Linda Hope. I hope you stay for at least 60 minutes, wherever this takes us as it unfolds naturally. I'm very excited to share some beautiful pointings that I heard from Eckhart Tolle when he was talking to Google. Google actually called Eckhart. As we know, Eckhart Tolle is a spiritual leader, wrote 2 books called The Power of Now and A New Earth. I had the privilege of actually with my daughter watching Eckhart Tolle with Oprah Winfrey when they were talking about the New Earth on the World Wide Web. That was when it was World Wide Web, WWW. It was like the beginning of the whole, right, technology revolution of being connected through the internet. And my daughter, she was quite young at the time, but every week, Oprah and Eckhart would take each chapter at a time and talk about it. And we shared it. It actually helped my daughter so much when she was in school because it really, the teachings were about how do we stay as presence without personally getting attached to the drama of life. So while her teacher was not being so kind to her, was very, I guess, very judgmental of what she was doing, she didn't take it personally. And she felt much better than some of the other kids who were crying and upset. And this has really helped her quite a bit along the way of life. Just that alone, not taking things so personally. So tonight we're really going to talk about distractions, right, in our lives. What happens when we're on technology so much throughout the day? How do we function by being self-aware? How can we still be in the moment now and not be sucked into the screen? I mean, you're actually watching me now on a screen, either it be your phone or a computer. You are absorbed in this screen, right? So how are you able to still be in a sense of awareness that you are seeing it and have space between that and the screen, right? So we're going to begin with a meditation just so that it grounds us in this present moment, because again, this present moment is all there is. This now is it. This is it. If you don't like this, you won't like the next moment, right? If you don't like this moment, you're not going to like the next moment, I'll tell you. If you're not friends with it, you don't really grasp that this is all there is. That's a sense of misery. And then we're going to be suffering pretty much the rest of our lives. Why? Because we deny this moment. We want to change this moment. We go, this moment isn't good enough. I don't like this moment. Let's change it. It's very hard to do that because it is what it is. I don't know if you're following that trend at all. It's really nothing that your mind can comprehend. But if this moment that you're listening to me now, you're not happy with this moment, first of all, you can shut me off, which is what technology you can do. You can just push the button. Or the mind can say, I don't understand what you're saying. Let's go get a drink. Let's turn on some TV. Mindless chatter starts to happen in your head. And you're off and running. You're no longer in the moment because you really don't care about it. And it's about valuing it, right? It's like being with a good friend. The moment is like a good friend. What happens when you're with a good friend? You want to honor them and what they say to you, and you're really paying attention to what they say. We talked about active listening. Give that person your full attention because you care about what they have to say. It's not about what you have to say. It's about listening with attention and intention and showing them how important they are to you by listening. Well, that's sort of like what you want to do with the present moment, because this moment is created by you. You're creating this. So if you don't like what you're creating, create something else. Create something even more spectacular. But again, this moment is what it is. So let's just breathe into this moment. The breath is one of the ancient meditation experiences. Breath. So if we take a awareness, attention to the breath, we're fully present in the breath, we're fully present in the body. With intention, we're breathing. With intention, we're breathing. Why do I say that? Well, most of the time, we're just breathing. Or I think we can say we're being breathed. Because guess what? If you forget to breathe, do you die? I don't think so. Yeah. But you're not aware that you're breathing most of the time, are you? You're just going about your day. But I guess when you forget you're breathing, you're going to still breathe. So that's why I say take an intentional breath in, which means you're focused in this breath. And you don't have to close your eyes if you don't want to. Focus does not mean to close your eyes. I know a lot of people are going, oh, I want to meditate. Let me get in my position. Hold on. No, it's not. No, wait, hold on. I'm not quite fully in my meditation. No, you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. No, just listen to my words if you can. And if you find that your mind is distracting you, it could be taking you out of this moment, which is most of the time what happens, right? Come back to your breath. Back to your breath. And that centers you in your body. And then there's an alertness. There's an aliveness that happens, right? So I'm going to ask you to look around your environment, because this is an awareness practice right now. And we're going to look around and we're going to see, what does our immediate environment look like? Okay. Well, chairs, walls, lights, pictures, microphone, this body, this computer, this drink. And what else? What else is there but the objects that you are seeing? The objects that you are with your eyes seeing. I mean, there are sensory, right, in the body. Maybe you're feeling something in your body. Maybe a pain or something, or, feeling of wanting to stretch. Maybe there's a sense of scatterness in the mind. You can't quite focus on the words. Maybe you notice that. But you're noticing that. And let's go even deeper. So, what are we missing? What are we really missing in this room when we look at the walls, we look at the furniture, we look at ourselves in this room? What's so obvious that we're missing right now? Can you think of that? Isn't it space? Isn't it space? It's just, but we don't see space. Can we see space? No. It's sort of like we can't see the wind outside either, but we can see the trees moving and we can feel our hair moving in the wind. We can't really see wind. We can see the effects of wind. I heard a cute story from Eckhart Tolle. One fish is talking to the other fish in the water, in the ocean. And the fish is saying, I guess this guru fish is saying, "What do you see here?" And the fish says, "Well, I see the coral. I see my other fish friends. I see some fish I don't want to see because they'll eat me." So the spiritual guru fish says, "What else do you see?" And the fish goes, "I don't know. Isn't that all there is? There's fish, coral, and whatever." He goes, Guru fish says, "There's water. Don't you see the water?" And the fish goes, "Water? What do you mean?" So, we tend to ignore the obvious. The fish forgot there was water there because all he knows is water. We forget there's space here because all we know is space. I mean, we see the space and we take it for granted. And so we now need to notice the other part of the deeper part of what we all also overlook is this present moment. We also don't recognize it until our attention brings it into our sense of awareness about it. Because attention is a very valuable tool within our human dynamic. And without awareness, well, we know how that looks. I have to tell you a story. The other day, I'm at a restaurant, and you know how it is with people and their technology. And we're going to get into that subject today because we are here to talk about what's the best use of technology without being distracted or addicted. We're going to talk about that. So this is a story that sort of leads us to that conversation. I saw parents at a table, and they gave their child some mechanical technology, whatever, mechanical device. It had pictures on it. And the baby is so, so enamored, so drawn into this little box with these characters and music playing on it, right? I think, parents like to do this for their child because they figure it's the best way for them to talk, and the child can keep itself entertained, right? So here's this technology. So when it comes to start eating their food, the child does not want to leave this little box that's so entertaining. And the father is feeding this child, this baby. It's got to have been, I don't think even 2. The baby is feeding the baby food, and the baby's not focused in on the spoon. It's focused here in this box. And it's not even paying attention to what's going in its mouth. Now, if that child's learning that now at 2 years old, can you imagine how it's going to be at 3 or 4 or 5 or 6, where it can't even feed itself because it's so distracted? I was blown away by the parents who didn't realize what they're doing to this poor little child who won't even know how to feed itself or appreciate food because it won't even know that it's eating anything because it's so drawn into the box. So where we put our attention, or intention, it's where energy flows. That's where we're able to fully engage in something when we give it our full attention, right? And again, when we go into the breath and we can breathe into this moment, we are noticing, we are in this grounded place of presence. Yes, presence. So let's talk about knowing that we are now in this moment, and this now is more important than any other moment. We're going to talk about technology, but first in this moment, we're going to honor and welcome in our sponsors. Stay tuned to Moment by Moment with Linda Hope. Be right back.
If you're a fan of the paranormal world, then you'll love WLTK-DB Talk Radio. Talk shows bringing you the latest on everything paranormal, cryptozoological, metaphysical, true crime, psychic readings, and more. The truth is here and now on WLTK-DB Talk Radio at WLTKDB.com.
The station mobile app is finally here and ready for you to download free. With the app, you can listen to past shows, view upcoming live shows, read our blog, and even shop. Get yours today at the App Store and Google Play under WLTK-DB Talk Radio. Stay connected and informed. WLTK-DB Talk Radio mobile app. It's yours. Go get it. Come see our new station shop for some amazing top quality merchandise. There is something for everyone, like blankets, electronics, clothing, and much more. Head on over to WLTKDB.com and click Shop to show your support by sporting our logo. The WLTK-DB Station Shop at WLTKDB.com. Paranormal talk is our business, and business is good.
Welcome back. Thank you for being here. And I say being here, fully present right now as presence itself. And that is such a gift. There's that expression. If you are thinking of the last moment, that's history. If you're thinking of the future, that's a mystery. But the present is the present to yourself, the present moment. And the same thing, there's another expression, a little bit more graphic. If you have one leg in the past and one leg in the future, you're whatever, not fully present in the now. I cleaned that up a little bit. But in any case, we're talking tonight about technology. How can we best use technology without being distracted and addicted? Now, I would say that if I were to ask you, can you go without your cell phone for 24 hours? Maybe that's even a stretch. Can you go without your cell phone for 2 hours? Really? I mean, when I say that, do you get a panic attack when I start? Do you go, how about a half? Can you take a walk outside without bringing your cell phone with you? I mean, those are questions you say, well, I don't think I have a problem with my cell phone. I have to admit, the other day, I left my cell phone at my boyfriend's house, right? I left it at his house. I was in my car. And so thoughts came through my mind. Well, what if I just left it there? That feeling of, well, what if I just left it there and I just came home? Well, the first thought was he couldn't get a hold of me, right? He expects me to call him when I get home and I'm not calling him. He'll be upset. That was actually the first thought, right? So I said, I got to turn around. I got to turn around and get my cell phone. I don't have a landline. Most people now don't have landlines. So you feel that sense of loss of connection with the people you love, don't you? But I look back, there was a time where there were no cell phones, really, people. There was a time where you had to go into a phone booth and you had to take some money and you had to make a phone call. And then sometimes, and you were on the road without a cell phone. Oh, wow. That was dangerous. Back then it wasn't dangerous. Now it's like, if you're not on with your cell phone connected to your GPS to make sure you get to that location at the right time in the right place, you're going to panic. I don't know how we made it. I don't know how I made it through my 20s. And when was it with the cell phone? My 20s, my 30s. I'm not going to date myself. I am infinite and I know that. But anyway, as a person, there is a hard time dealing with not having a phone that you can connect to right away. That's what it is. It's about immediate information. Immediate information. Because another reason why people use technology or phone, it's not necessarily to make a phone call. How many apps do you have on your phone that keep you connected to your Facebook? Let's not talk about that. To Instagram. I'm not on Instagram that much anyway. But there's social media noise, information. The reason why I bought a cell phone over a flip phone was I was in a debate. When I was a cantor at a congregation, my rabbi was talking, about Kabbalah or some spiritual teaching. And I thought to myself, wouldn't it be nice to be able to look that right up and have a conversation, even if I didn't know anything about that? That'd be great. That's what prompted me to get a iPhone, so I could look up the information right away. I didn't have to wait. You see, that's the other addiction part of it. I don't want to wait. I don't have, what's that word? Patience. Is that why patience is a virtue? Yeah, patience is a virtue, because guess what? You don't have to look it up right away. You don't have to be addicted to information. I'm talking about addiction. Information addiction. Why? Because it's immediate. It satisfies us, and the information overload that comes in at us is pretty intense. And we easily get absorbed into that collective consciousness of the internet that has all that information available to us in the moment, right now. And how often are we on our computers throughout the day where we're not even fully present here now, because we are sucked into that screen and we are allowing all that information to bombard us. And where are we going to put that information anyway? And is that information really important? Is it really? Sometimes you probably ask yourself, why did I need to know that? Why did I need to know? I'm sorry, too much information. You know how that goes, right? Don't tell me too much. I don't have the room capacity in my brain to hold all that information. That's why I got a cell phone. That's why I got an iPhone, so I can look it up and then I can forget about it. I can look it up and then I can forget about it. And if anything is of interest, maybe I'll write it down, but most of the time I won't, because I can look it up again. That's how it works. But everything is a distraction if you are in your head. If the only thing that you do throughout the day is mental, you are distracted most of the time. I want to share a beautiful video with you. Eckhart Tolle was asked by Google to come and talk to them. And I'm just going to play a little bit of the beginning for you. So here I'm going to share the screen. If you want to take notes, go ahead, but you can always look it up again on YouTube. Okay. There we go.
Your question was important. I remember it.
I don't.
Knowledge, information, and wisdom. How do they relate? Of course, with the technological revolution, information revolution, digital revolution, whatever you call it, there's an enormous amount of knowledge available to everybody, almost the whole of the world's knowledge, and there's the interconnectedness between people and so on. That's all very good, of course, to have all that accessible to you. There's this there's a danger, though, that you get drowned in too much information and too much knowledge. And by drowned, I mean that the mind gets bombarded with an excess of input, and therefore you miss something that is essential for a human life to be truly fulfilled. And that is a place of peace, inner peace or stillness, a place that one could describe as the source of all intelligence, that many people don't even realize exists within them. So I'd like to just talk briefly about that really we're talking about the core of what spirituality means. Spirituality is not having a particular belief structure, is not subscribing to a particular set of thoughts. Spirituality is discovering a dimension within yourself that is, we can either say deeper or higher than the continuous movement of thinking. And of course, all this information and knowledge is experienced in you as thought. So the thinking mind has always been active for many thousands of years in humans, but now it's even more active than before because it gets energized by the incredible increase in input. Before, all you had was the simple sensory input in your immediate surroundings. Then later came books, so you had the added input of that. And then gradually came the mass media, and now this incredible revolution of information technology, computers, and so on. So it energizes that movement of thought that's taking place in every human, which in itself is not necessarily a bad thing. It only becomes a bad thing and self-destructive thing if that is all you experience inside you, in your consciousness. If all you ever experience is that, I call it sometimes mental noise, then you begin to derive your identity from the thoughts in your head, what the thoughts tell you about yourself, and you are trapped in that identity that is based on identification with thinking. All spiritual teachings point to the possibility of finding something in you that is deeper than thinking, a space, a stillness that's always there. And the excess of information, you can only successfully deal with that if you have a balance in your consciousness between using your mind to absorb information, to put out new information, to work on the information that you have taken input. If you have a balance between that and something that is deeper than thought in you. And really, instead of giving you new knowledge here, I don't want to do that because I don't want to add to the knowledge that you're taking in anyway, far more than you ever need. So instead of giving you knowledge here, I'd like to suggest that you experience at first hand in yourself that place of, I call it sometimes a presence, where you are alert, conscious, but not thinking. And every creative person has some access to that realm. If you have a truly creative insight, you have to go to that place that is deeper than analytical thinking. Analytical thinking itself, or processing information, is not creative. So to find a new solution to a problem in your life requires some creative insight.
Well, I'm very excited about that, what he just said. Did you hear that? Were you awake? Did you fall asleep? Oh, really? What did he say? What did Eckhart Tolle what are the main pointings he used to talk to Google? What was that? Well, first he talked about what? Too much information overload. Information overload. We don't need that much information, right? What does it do? It obscures. It's so mental that the mental processes take us over and we stop realizing the present moment, the presence that we are in this moment. That's why what happens in the day, sometimes when people go, what happened in my day? Oh my goodness, the week has gone so fast. I can't keep up with it. I have such stress in trying to keep up with it. I can't keep up. Don't you feel that way sometimes? The days are going so fast, I can't keep up. Why is that happening? Why is your time just, you get up, you run, and you're exhausted, and you come home? Calgon, take me away. I remember that commercial. Oh, remember? And you forget what you did that day. It was just a blur. A blur. That's why there's an expression, stop and smell the roses. Are you really stopping and smelling the roses? Most of the time, we are not. We are fixed to our computer and to our phone. And even when we sit down, to eat with another friend or a partner, we're on our phones, looking up information. Look around a restaurant. You know it. They're all on their phones. There's, I don't know. Sometimes they're texting each other. I don't know that. But they're on their phones and nobody's communicating and looking in each other's eyes and enjoying the moment with that person. Now, Eckhart, during this conversation with Google, says, in order to balance your life with technology, one has to take a break, a breath break. Get away from the computer, get away from that screen, and look outside. Hopefully you have a window where you work. Do you have a window where you work? Because if you don't, you'll have to put a picture of a flower on the wall or some kind of nature picture, because he suggests you actually put a plant, some natural something next to your computer that you can enjoy and you can feel connected with from a place of energy, of natural energy that nature provides you with. Or get up. You got to get up and stretch too, right? Because this body that you have can only sit for so long. Get up, stretch, breathe into this moment and ground your feet in the floor and notice the feeling and aliveness in your body. And say to yourself, I am here. I am present. I am. That computer is not me. That computer's not me. How many people think that they're the computer? I don't know, but some people live as it is yourself. I mean, some people live their whole entire life in front of this computer or on their cell phones, and that's all they know. Do they go out in nature? Do you know that the children are more, I guess, what do you say? heavy, fat, right? They're not exercising. There's more overweight children in this world than there ever has been. Why? They're sitting in front of those computers, playing those games, sports games, and they're not outside like they used to be years ago, decades ago, where they get out and they kick the ball, they bat the ball, they do whatever, sports. It's not happening these days. There's a lot of depression because of that as well. Because what Eckhart says is there's distraction that is taking you away from the place of peace within yourself. You're chasing the next experience. You're chasing it, wanting the aliveness that is you. But you don't know it. You don't realize it because you're distracted from your essential nature. That's all alive and joyful and peaceful. That's who you are. But because you can't see it, you feed other addictions. Food or technology as addiction, or thoughts as an addiction takes you away from that sense of present moment. Or going on vacation, that's a biggie. I want to go away from where I am. I want to take me away, please. I don't like where I'm at. Again, it's taking you away from knowing your truth in this present moment. Well, let's go out on an adventure. Feed that. Also drugs, alcohol. They all do that. You all want a sense of aliveness within you, and you think that'll do it for you. That's an artificial sense of aliveness. That's momentary. That'll last, who knows, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, an hour at the most, and then you're back to feeling miserable again. I'm sorry, I'm laughing at it. It's just funny because we think that this is life. We think that's how we're supposed to live our life. We're supposed to live our life. There's a thought, or there's a squirrel. Where's the squirrel? Oh, you react so fast that we're ADD. We sometimes feel like we're ADD. Where's the focus? How can we even survive in this day? There's a survival mode. We're kicked into survival mode. So that's why we're fear-based now. We're in a panic mode. We're trying to catch the slippery wheel and we can't quite grab it. Why? Because we're not grounded. We're not attached. We're not connected to what is essentially ourselves. That is that place of joy and God's center. And why do we look outside ourselves for God? Why do we look outside ourselves for anything? For anything. Why are we looking outside ourselves? Because this is in us all. We can't find it out there. That's it. We can't find it out there. Tell me, when was the last time you found yourself out there? I know it's a silly question. I don't know how I just came up with that, but it does seem, it is funny. How am I finding myself out there? Am I finding myself in you? Am I a reflection of you and you are a reflection of me? Yeah, that's where I'm finding myself. Because if I am associated with, let's say, a joyful person, that's a reflection of the joy within myself. That sort of wakes me up to realize the deeper I. But again, because I guess if we're saying this dualistically in a place of, we call it, the Advaita Vedanta practice calls it the dream state. If we think of this as the dream state, which all of it is, but I won't go so deep into that. I'm just wanting to stay conscious right now. Don't fall asleep here. We need to look at what is happening in our experience, in the world of life, so-called life that we are experiencing, what is being revealed in that moment. If we are seeing things develop in this transformational, unfolding, and we're finding ease in the day, and we're surrounded by relatively happy people, and we're seeing very little conflict, we're sort of on a really good place. We're in a really great place of self. We're really seeing our intentions and attention paying off, because we know in the divine place of our oneness consciousness that we are, that things flow from this place naturally, that the day naturally unfolds with God's grace, because we really are connected to the God divine stream of all there is. And so this moment, just by noticing this moment as rich and special and magical, we are already actualized in that moment. Beyond the distraction of the mind, beyond the pull of whatever wants to distract this, but nothing can. Because in the real knowing of self, nothing can distract this self. It's only the person who believes itself to be a certain type, that has attachment to an identity with likes and dislikes and opinions and judgments and complaints, you name it. We call it in Yiddish, mishigas of the mind. The individual has a lot of that. You attach yourself to people's opinion of you and your thoughts and your feelings in the body, and you believe it to be you. You believe your thoughts and your body to be you. And as Eckhart said, the spirituality of the person, we are really spiritual beings having a human experience. We're not human beings having a spiritual experience, The spiritualness, the knowing of the deeper I is really, if you want to say, our calling in life. The awakening of consciousness itself, knowing itself, is the isness, and that is your truth, and that's all there is. And the only way that you know that is to experience it in the moment. It's revealed to you in this moment. That's why people meditate. I meditated, went on silent retreats for weeks at a time, just so that my mind noise would stop. The judgments, the complaining, I had so much of that. I couldn't stand myself. That's what it means to not stand yourself, because you can see it. It's so obvious when you get really quiet. And that's why they needed the teachers around to talk to the people who were going off the edge, the deep edge, because they were seeing their thoughts for the first time. They were seeing their complaining mind. They were seeing their negative self-talk. A lot of that, right? Because we have 70,000 thoughts, ladies and gentlemen, that go through our mind every day. Can't keep up with it. If you're aware of it, it could drive you mad. But nobody's aware of 70,000 thoughts. No. You are aware, though, of the ones that sometimes push your button. Push your buttons because there's something that you've attached yourself to and believed it to be true of you. Because thoughts have no power otherwise. Thoughts are just thoughts. Thoughts come and they go. If you were that thought, you'd also be gone. But you're not. You're the one observing that thought. And you're seeing it, and you're going, sometimes my thoughts are so ridiculous. Have you witnessed some of your thoughts? Aren't they sometimes so ridiculous? You go, does that even make sense? How could I have even, where did that come from? Yeah. But sometimes, in the beginning when I was witnessing my thoughts, I started to loathe myself. I said, how could you be saying such a terrible thing about somebody else or to yourself? How can you allow yourself to do that? And you know what? It's your pattern behavior. I didn't realize it was my patterning. I did not realize that I was patterned and habituated until my teacher Sage said, write down everything about your mother and your father and your brother and anybody else in your family. Write it all down. The good, the bad, the ugly, write it all down. Because you have mixtures of all that. You are mixed in all that as an individual. You you're influenced by everybody around you that raised you. And so if you're finding those tapes coming in your head, I remember hearing some of my father's tapes and my mother's tapes, and I'd say, wow, I'm not like that, am I? I denied that. I said, I can't be that. And I'm true. It's true. I can't be that from a real alertness about it. I mean, you are not your thoughts. But at the time I didn't know that. I just thought, wow, that's not me. It sounds like my father would say that, or that sounded like my mother said that, or my brother. And I loved them very much. It's not like I didn't love them, but I didn't feel it was me talking at the time. And I remember this so well. My mother would say to me, do you believe what you're saying, or are you just arguing? I just love to argue. Did you ever find that times in your life you just love to argue? There's some excitement in that. And I would say, she was very, very wise, my mother. She'd say, do you realize what you just said? Do you really want to defend what you just said? Because it didn't make any sense to me. And I would look back at what I was defending, and she was right. I didn't want to defend that. That made no sense. But I wanted to be what? I wanted to be right. I wanted to be right. I wanted attention. And don't you notice that some people who talk the loudest and the fastest get a lot of attention? Yeah. And most of the time they don't make sense. But that's funny when you want to look at it. It's just very humorous to be a human. Yeah, I like that. You can quote me. It's very, very humorous to be a human. And it's true because, as much as we want to try to be better people, it's not about being a better person. No, because it takes work. I'm just too tired. I don't want to work at it anymore. I used to study my ego. Did everybody study their ego? I was just weird that way. But I would look at my ego and say, what are you saying? What are you? See, a thought would come across my screen and my perception, and then I'd ask it, is this the ego talking? No. I thought there was a difference. I thought maybe it was me talking at times that was nice and sweet and understanding and compassionate. And then there was the ego that was, I don't know, puffing itself up or judging or complaining or blaming others, and that again is puffing yourself up, right? And I thought, I'm not that. I can't be that. I think I'm a nicer person than what I just thought. So I was playing that kind of game. And then I would say, no, I really need to live a nicer, sweeter, compassionate life. I'm going to see how compassionate I can really be. I want to see my level of compassion. So I enrolled as a chaplain in the hospital just to see my compassion level. I wanted to see how selfishless I am, if that's a word. I wanted to see that in myself. And it did point my way back into myself. It really did. It really helped. First of all, I had to study active listening. Because when I went into a patient's room, I had to truly listen to them so I could be a presence for them and hold space. And that was compassion. It wasn't my person, Linda Hope, being compassionate. Because Linda Hope is limited in that ability. We as humans are very limited in the amount of love we can give and provide because it's very conditional. It's very limited in the way that we can be compassionate. One minute we can be very compassionate to somebody, but sometimes it's self-serving. Have you noticed? I'm going to be a lot compassionate to this person because guess what? I can maybe get a free something from that, or I can get attention for being compassionate. They'll say, wow, is that a compassionate person? That's so sweet. You are so kind. And guess what? That puffs up your ego too. It does. Boy, is that ego slippery. Woo. Yes. So, but being a space holder for people, for being an active presence in their life without the conditions of the world or without your own ego involved, that's compassion. And that's where true love is from, because you are love. That love that fills you up, that nourishes you, that is you, and it nourishes others. And people can feel the presence of that energy field of love. I think somebody said, I'm trying to remember who said it, but love coming from the heart, the energy that is emitted from that heart chakra is huge. It's basketball filled. You can't appreciate, I mean, it's just limitless, right? So you are energy. We are all energy. We vibrate at different frequencies. Everything is energy here. And when we notice that in the moment, the vitality, aliveness in the moment, right? That's everything. That's the isness. There is that quality, if you want to say, it's so much more expansive. It is the space that you are. It's just, and it can't be addicting because it's not something that you cling to. It just is who you are. That's your I am presence. And outside of that, everything is coming and going. And again, when we are the witness of that, when we do view that, and we can see the screen, we can see, just like the computer screen, getting back to the topic of technology, we see the computer and we see the screen and we see it, right? The image is coming and going, but we are that presence. We are the witness of all that coming and goings. So nothing disturbs this, the essence of this, us being. Nothing can penetrate that because we don't take it personally. We're not looking at any self-reward, And if people say or do things that are to the person, we don't get triggered anymore because we're not that person. We can see the person, we can enjoy the appearance of the person and the energy of the person, but we're no longer fixed to, is my hair all right? We're not fixated to the image of that person anymore, or to its identity that's claiming all kinds of things to be right or wrong or good or bad, or really don't have any opinions about it, because we allow everything to just sort of be as it is, because this moment is perfect. You created it. Well, from a 3D perspective, you created it. But from a bigger, broader perspective, you are just one with it. You are the one with it, with God, with divine, as divine. And how can it not be perfect? How can this moment not be perfect? And your mind is going to go, what the heck is she talking about? What is she really saying? I can't understand it. Wait a second. Let me explain it. No, I'm not going to explain it. No, the mind chatter is the distraction. That's right. And if you allow yourself to be absorbed in your thinking mind, you will be continuously distracted. You may think you're awake, you're normal, this is life, things are happening to you. Happening to you. That's why there's the victimhood there as a person. That's why we feel victim. Oh God, that person said something to me. Oh no, I can't take it. No. You're not having done things to you. There's nothing involved in the person. You are not the person. You are not your person. You are presence. You are aware of the person, and there's the harmony with the person. There is a way to flow through your day as the doer. The person is the doer. But behind the scenes, that's usually ignored, is presence, is the beingness of you. So when I find myself less triggered on a daily basis, I go, wow, that did not even faze me. Now, if I do notice some kind of discomfort, like, I'll look at that and go, wow, who's that? Who's talking here? Who just got triggered? Oh, yeah. My person got triggered. The presence is fine again. So knowing this as your truth is liberating, is freedom from the psychological mind. It's freedom. It's your freedom. You are living in a beautiful, blissful place of peace and love. Can you ever live in that blissful place of love and peace as a person? Continuously? You can try. Good luck. Good luck, because your mind's not going to be helping you along. No. It can deceive you very easily. And then you think you're living a blissful life until, it sort of reminds me of I don't know, this is an interesting image that sort of popped up. In the snow when you're driving your car, right? And the snow's coming right at you and you're going, hey, this is no problem at all. I can see the snow coming at me and I'm okay, until you have to hit the brake. And then you realize, oh boy, I'm not okay. Bam, right? That's what happens to sometimes. Yeah. You think everything's going along really well, and then you got to hit the brake. And then you skid out. And somehow you lose it. You lose it because you're now in momentum, boy. And your momentum is carrying you on, and you're going off the deep end. No. But that's, again, those are challenges of life that somehow you have to experience in order to awaken. It's the experience. So you become a better driver, more careful driver. You know that the experience that you have is you can't go 60 miles an hour in a snowstorm, even though you do see people doing it. I've seen big trucks. These big trucks think they own the road, don't they? They think, I got a big truck, I got big tires. I'm bulletproof against the winter. Really? I think that's a false sense of security. But, it is that experience in us that knows when we have to put the brakes on, when we have to wake up and be present and feel that sense of inner contentment and peace, and not be chasing the next thought and the next thought and the next thought. Yeah. So I hope this moment-to-moment experience has brought you to recognize and value that you are already consciousness. That consciousness, before you formed any thought pattern or identity, was here. You exist. And may this moment reveal that to you. And may you enjoy the fullness of who you are as you express it throughout your day, and allow that to unfold in the most glorious ways. I send you such blessings for the now, and make friends with it. And when you feel drawn into technology and your phone, be mindful that it's just a tool to use from time to time. Time to time. Don't attach yourself to it, because it's definitely not who you are. No, you are divine presence. Thank you for watching Moment to Moment, and I'll see you next Tuesday at 7 o'clock Central Time. May this be a divine moment for you always.